Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. Today, personally, and this is just me, I want to come to grips with the reality that the Bears are in control, that this is not going to be a V-shaped recovery. It's going to be more like a U. And let's accept reality. Let's move on. And you don't have to accept reality if you don't want to. You don't have to even agree with me that this is what reality is, but the Bears are in control. My hope rested in that FOMC meeting on Wednesday and seeing the results of that, or was it on Tuesday? It was on Wednesday, yeah. And seeing the results of that, seeing certain activity levels, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to spend some time here. We're going to spend some time under the bull market support band. And so the question now that we need to ask ourselves is simply, how long are we going to be in a bearish moment? I don't want to call it the bear market. I don't want to say we are in a bear market. I mean, I would define under the bull market support band as bear market territory, but how long and how painful is it going to be? And what's the bottom? All that stuff. I mean, I'm not going to give numbers for the bottom, but I will share some things with you and we can act accordingly. At least I'll share with you my intentions. And I mean, as of right now, my intention is to hold. And I've been talking about strategy as far as places where I would start putting fiat back into the system, or stable coins, converting those stable coins to Bitcoin and Ethereum and some alts. That ranges between $45,000 and 52, 53, wherever this bull market support band may be. And so, we got under $46,000 earlier today, but we didn't get under $45,000. So I didn't pull the trigger, and I'm sticking with that. If Bitcoin goes under $45,000, that's where I'm going to start making some entries with that fiat that I have sitting on the sideline. And you might be confused by that. Like, what fiat do you have sitting on the sideline? Well, I did some tax loss harvesting. I sold some crypto that was at a loss so that my taxes, when I do them in early 2022, will be less painful, because it's going to be miserable for me. But so I'm just offsetting that pain. I now have $30,000 in stable coins sitting on the sideline. So when am I going to put that back in? I'm sticking to my plan, under $45,000 for Bitcoin or over $52,000 for right now. For right now, that's the plan. So let's talk about this. How long is it going to be? I've talked about this. If you watch my lengthening cycles video, I did say something along the lines of, if we are to have a lengthening cycle, we're probably going to have another bear market, another mini bear market. And so the more that I am processing this, the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm thinking about how far down we were from the bull market support band in May, June, and July versus how far down we are now and how far down we could go. My guess is that this is not going to be as long or as miserable as this was. Even, maybe it will be as long, but I don't think it's going to be as miserable. I think that we have gone with the wick at least about as far down as we will go, $42,000. And then even then, there's this struggle going on. And it's one of these things where it's like, yeah, we've swept the lows of every liquidation wick. We've gone even a little bit lower than the liquidation wicks. But for me, again, $45,000 is the place to be. So as far as new entries are concerned. So I want to take a look at the 4 cohorts again. Remember these 4 cohorts: short-term holders, long-term holders, miners, and leverage traders. And nothing's changed for short-term holders. I don't have any charts to show you. They are pretty much exhausted as far as how much short-term holders would sell at a loss. I mean, the reason why short-term holders sold so much is they capitulated, but now we have these short-term holders who have mostly been accumulating in the $40,000 range. And so for them to capitulate now would take something drastic like a liquidation of some sorts. And so I guess that would lead into, well, what are we doing how are we looking for leverage? And so let me pull this chart up here. You can see increases in leverage and open interest. And so what is the nature of these increases? Is it people longing or people shorting? And let me compare it to, again, that mini bear market we had over the summer. You can see leverage increasing. You could see it spiking out at $1.2 trillion before it dumped. Was that shorts getting squeezed or was it longs getting squeezed? Well, as this leverage was increasing, it was more and more people, for the most part, shorting the market. And so they got squeezed and open interest got cut in half, or, cut by 40% or so. And so to see an increase in leverage longs, that shouldn't be, or in leverage in open interest, that shouldn't be alarming to you. It's pretty clear to me that this is more people gaining confidence that we're going to dump from here. And so this is a good sign. And so if there's any kind of squeezing that goes on, which, I mean, at this level, there's not going to be really all that much squeezing going on. But, as this rises with more and more people shorting, which is going to happen the longer we stay in the 40s, then the chances of a long squeeze versus a short squeeze are heavily in favor of short squeezes. Excuse me. I was blanking there for a second. So short-term holders in leverage traders, I don't see all that much of a threat from them. But let's talk about long-term holders. So Glassnode reported, this was 2 days ago, within the 24 hours, including and after the FOMC meeting, we saw 274.4 million dollars worth of inflows to exchanges. And that's a bad sign. But that was the price action yesterday, got up to about, $49,400, $49,500, and then bled throughout the whole day. That was people transferring Bitcoin to exchanges in order to sell. I mean, let's be honest about what that is. That's not a good sign for, short term, for very, very short term. And so the big thing that I wanted to see today is I wanted to see what Glassnode reported for Bitcoin inflows versus outflows. And I will point out outflow for Ethereum 2 days ago, but then it switched. So this is a good sign for Bitcoin. Net flow, 221.7 million outflows, but 331.2 million inflows for Ethereum. So I'm curious to see what these following days bring. This is an anomaly for Ethereum, and it may be that Ethereum is what's driving the price down today when we see these kinds of inflows to exchanges for Ethereum. Now, I looked at a chart of supply on exchanges for Ethereum, and on that chart, this looks like a tiny little uptick. I don't expect this to continue, but I will be keeping my eyes on that. And then the last thing, I just want to take another look at Bitcoin miners' flows, and you can see that Bitcoin miners have been very quiet. And so what would turn me into an all-out bear is, again, seeing more inflows to exchanges and, for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I don't expect that to happen, or, for me to see more inflows or outflows, minor outflows. This would be outflows, more outflows, more miners selling their positions, putting those on exchanges. The more I would see of that, the more bearish I would be. But as long as long-term holders and miners are continuing to hold, I would say that the 40s, mid 40s even, would be around where the price should be as far as a floor would be concerned. If I see any change in miners and in long-term holders, which I know that miners would usually be included in long-term holders, if I see any change in either of those positions, I will be more bearish. But for right now, I don't see a reason to be more bearish than $46,737 or $45,000, mid 40s, whatever you call that. So as of right now, my intention is to hold. This might be a little controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I think worst case, let's avoid controversies. Worst case scenario moving forward is I'm very curious to see what happens, what whales do if Bitcoin, and I'd say when Bitcoin gets to the mid 50s, maybe in January, maybe in February, something like that. If it gets to the mid 50s, the question that I would be asking is, how convinced are long-term holders that $69,000 was the top? If you see a lot of heavy amount of transferring to exchanges when Bitcoin's in the mid 50s, then I think that they will have been convinced that $69,000 was the top. And if there's any de-risking that they're going to do, it's probably with a bounce to the lower to mid $50,000 range. So that is on my radar, and I probably will be taking, because I'm 90% in crypto right now, I probably will be taking some money off the table at that time. Not my Bitcoin, not my Ethereum, but some altcoins. I would love to see some altcoins rally as Bitcoin gets to the lower to mid 50s. And if that's the case, I'm going to take profits, or I'm going to just take a decent amount of that, maybe a 25%, 30% off the table. So this will constantly be evolving, but that is my plan for right now. In my opinion, considering the fact that long-term holders, it seems like they are holding, aside from this one day after the FOMC meeting, and considering the fact that miners seem to be holding, I will hold as well, because short-term holders and leverage traders at this point won't have much of an impact on the market. So that's all I have for today. I hope you have a great weekend. If you like this content, smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. Otherwise, I will see you in another video. Peace.